What's up YouTube? Welcome to today's video where I'm going to go over one of the ways that you can actually make super juice mapping somewhat profitable. And man, this looks like deja vu. There's two of me. But one of my viewers in chat had me run this map for them because they wanted to test out some profits. And I did it pretty fast. And I was just checking it out, seeing what was going on. So this is actually a 60% deli dunes map with skittering orbs. Now, as you may know, my filter's kind of bad for this. There's too much stuff showing up. And I'm trying to loot some stuff. But there's just honestly too much stuff. You should always get rid of simulacrum splinters and chaos shards and probably the flasks if you're going to do this strat, and definitely the jeweler's orbs. Now that you mentioned it, I should probably be going to my filter and doing an overhaul. But as you can see here, this is only 40% deli, so you could definitely bump it up to 60 or 80%. Now the whole name of the strategy is spawn as many mobs as possible to fill up the deli rewards as much as possible. And I think you actually do put Alva Temple on the map because Alva Temple gives the most. You could also possibly do Bestiary. So you can see here, there's just a bunch of mobs. And the nice part about this strat is you could encounter some God Touch rares and get relatively lucky and get a bunch of divines. But most of the money will be coming from the guaranteed Scarabs that you get. And as you may know now, Scarabs are very, very expensive with people trying to do Gilded Div, Gilded Abyss, Gilded Ambush being the most important ones, and Gilded Reliquary. Well, sometimes you just don't want to play a bad build, but as you can see, that's pretty much how the strat looks like when you're playing it. So, as I said, this is a strat that someone showed me in chat, and he actually wrote out a whole thesis about what he did, so I'm just going by what he said, and I'm going to introduce you to the strat that could potentially make juice mapping worth it. And I did find another strat that allowed me to find 11 divine orbs, and I do think you can find up to maybe 30 divine orbs from one single rare monster. Now, as I said, I wanted to present some different money-making methods that don't rely solely on Magic Find. This is a method that doesn't rely on Magic Find. The guy who did it did not run it with Magic Find, and this will guarantee you consistent profits in the long run and pretty much set you up for your Scarabs for a while. So this is also an experiment whether juice mapping, not juice money. What the hell is juice money? Whether juice mapping can still be profitable if you're using winged Scarabs. Now, this method does rely on using skittering deli orbs, and the reason why this is also possible this league is pretty much because skittering deli orbs are a lot cheaper on average because you can swap it around with Scarabs, and this is actually one of the main things I love about the league, including its long, luscious load times. This is actually, holy moly, how long is it going to be taking? Okay, so let's go to our hideout. Okay, hideout. Sometimes it's faster to type hideout, sometimes it's not if you make some typing mistakes. But as you can see here, if we go here, you can see Scarabs or Deli Orb, Delirium. This thing is kind of overpowered at the moment, and it allows you to swap it over into a 10 stack of skitterings, and it's not really weighted. So that's why people have a lot more Deli Orbs in bulk. And this does allow you to end up with 17 to 18 reward tiles, and I do think that he actually almost reached 19 one time. So this is another test that he ran where he was using 80% deli, and it was a lot better in terms of profit. Now, for the Sextants and Scarabs, and man, that is one blurry screenshot, but regardless, the prices are subject to change depending on the time of day, and it will be cheaper if you buy the Legion and Deli Reward Faster with 4 uses instead of 16 use. So he pretty much did the test and did the maximum laziness route where he just used 2 Legion, 1 Divine, or 16 use Sextants only. It's going to be a lot faster to buy the 16 use Sextants than the 4 use ones. But the 2 16 use Sextants you need to use are the +2 additional Abyss and +2 Breach, because some Sextants, whether it's Elevated or Awaken, have a difference. The Elevated Legion doesn't do anything, and it still just gives you 1 Legion, but the Elevated Abyss Sextant gives you 2 Abyss instead of 1, and the Elevated Breach gives you 2 Breach instead of 1 Breach. And then you want to use Delirium Reward Fill Faster, and this is also cheaper if you buy it in sets of 4 along with the Legion. Now, the Scarabs are something you can probably play around with. You can see this is about how much is spent on Winged Legion. Winged Legion is nice because it gives you 2 Legions instead of 1. Winged Breach gives you a bunch of breaches. Winged Abyss gives you an extra Abyss, and it allows you to get 100% increased monsters instead of 50%. And Gilded Harbinger is used instead of Winged Harbinger. Not really sure why you chose to use this instead of Winged Harbinger, but ideally you'd probably use Winged Harbinger and you would still make money. Now, you can always play around with worse Scarabs. Like, this is more a test of trying out the most expensive Scarabs possible. And you could definitely use Gilded or you should definitely use Gilded, and I'm pretty sure it will still make money. As you can see, this is about how much you paid for it, and the Scarabs overall aren't too much, purely because of the Harvest Craft. But I do think that maybe a lower type of Scarab might be more cost efficient, and it's very possible that may be the case. So in terms of the Deli Orbs, you're going to be using Skittering. As I said, Skittering is pretty much the only Deli Orb in this strat. It will make by far the most money. Another option is maybe Cartographers, but I do think that you always want to be using the most expensive Deli Orb in this case. And this is easily available in bulk this league because there's also the Delirium Orb Harvest Swap, like I said. But for this map, we're deciding to run Citadel Dunes. Now, this is another thing that we're pretty much running just to test it out if we can make money back from the ultimate juice. And this is because the map now has 20% quant and 20% pack size, which is extremely, extremely good. Now, we do decide to put Legion on the map device. Another option you could potentially use is putting Fortune Favors the Brave. Now, Fortune Favors the Brave allows you to take this thing right here, and it is 10% quant, 10% rarity, and 10% pack size. Now, the important thing about Fortune Favors the Brave and the Citadel Dunes is that makes it so you can't take Wandering Path, but wait, that's not the main thing. The main thing is that you don't really know which one you'll get. So if you get Essences, it's not as good. Abyss is really, really good. Ambush is also not too bad. Heist is really, really bad. It doesn't generate any monsters. Legion is good. Blight is technically also good. Expedition is technically okay. So you can see that there's a lot of different options. And Fortune Favors the Brave might actually be the best option, but it really just depends on what you want to do. Now, as you can see here, these are the input costs. 48 Skittering Deli Orbs go for 1728. So roughly around like 35 to 40 Chaos. Citadel Dunes is 350 C. So that's like 23 Chaos per map. And then with all the Legion on the map device, it's 96 Chaos. So now you might be wondering in terms of the Atlas tree. Now, I didn't really go over this Atlas tree. It's not really mine, but this Atlas tree is focusing on Beyond, King Harbinger, Abyss, Legion, Strong Boxes, Deli Bosses, and Shrines. So you can see here, this is taken so that you have the Deli Boss spawn, and the Deli Bosses will have a higher chance of dropping the Cluster Jewel, and you could get an Interrogation. These nodes are taken for the Beyond spawns. This thing actually gives Beyond Demon chance. And supposedly nowadays, Beyond is a little bit better. So this gives you 10% chance for your maps to attract Beyond Demons. And these nodes are always nice if you're trying to get some XP for leveling gems. And we do have this thing here. We don't really want to spawn a unique boss, so that's why we don't take that node. And let's see, does he actually take any of the beast stuff? No. So this is for the King Harbinger. This thing's for the Shrine. So he doesn't take the guaranteed Shrine here, which is kind of weird. I might take that. And then the Harbinger, you could take that. And he doesn't take the Eldritch downside. I would probably take this node over here, as the downside is pretty important. For the map, you kind of want to run to the boss, kill the boss, get the altars. So then, for every single map nowadays, you always want to run to the boss and then kill it, and then kill the rest of the monsters in the map because of the power of currency duplication altars. Currency duplication altars is what allows people to get like 20 to 30 divines from one rare. And we do take the Strongbox nodes over here. And we don't really fill out the quant nodes because most of the stuff is from reward templates, from the Deli Orb rewards, and from the, the Legion chests. Now, right here, something you want to know is that he blocks all of the league mechanics besides Breach, Abyss, and Legion. So this name of the Atlas tree is pretty much Breach, Abyss, and Legion. We're trying to buff it as much as possible. We have Flash Breach, these Abyssal Army nodes, and then Legion nodes, and then these Abyss nodes down here, and then some Harbinger nodes. So pretty simple tree. You could change it out a little bit, maybe get some more quant, maybe get some more increased effect of non-map modifiers over here. So it's very, very versatile. You also end up taking this that makes it so that the monsters have 25% less life, which should help out your build a lot, and maybe you'll die, who knows. And then you have the Conqueror stuff here. But for the changes I would make, I would definitely take this right here. And if your build was super, super strong, I would probably take Wrath of the Cosmos just because it does generate a lot of embers. But remember, dying is really, really bad on the strat. Now for the thing that everyone cares about, and this is the profit calculations. Remember, this test was done on 60% Deli, and it wasn't 80% Deli. I think he said when he tested it out on 80% Deli, each map had an extra like 60, 70 Chaos worth of profit. So as you can see here, that pretty much brings the average profit to around 2 divinations per map if you ran at 80% deli instead of 60% deli. So the total cost of the maps was 4,000 chaos roughly for 16 maps, and that is quite a lot. Now, so that puts the average cost per map at 249C. So the total for 10 maps is 2,491C. And I think he didn't actually end up running all 16 maps. So he actually ran 10 maps, and after 10 maps, he had 5,581 chaos. So you subtract these two, and you get the profit for 10 maps, which is 3,090C. And then divided by 10 for the 10 maps he ran was 309 chaos. Now you might be wondering, did he get super lucky while doing this? And he didn't really get that crazy lucky. He got an Enlighten, and that's like what, 2 divines or so nowadays. And then he got 5 raw divine drops, which I feel like is probably in line with how many rares get found in a map. And then he only received 2 raw divine orbs and god touch mobs through all 10 maps, which is not too crazy. He said that 1 god touch mob actually dropped in like 10 or 12 exalted orbs, so he definitely got unlucky in regards to that. Now in terms of spawning god touch, I think he definitely said that he would get 1 to 2 a map roughly, and with this many rares spawning on a map, you are pretty much guaranteed a god touch every single map. Now most of the currency does come from Legion emblems and Scarabs, which is pretty interesting to note, so that everything is super easy to sell. For Legion emblems and Scarabs, you can pretty much just go to TFT and sell it off immediately. You can sell off your entire Scarab tab near instantly on TFT in the bulk buy section. So if you want to see how you can actually do that, let me show it to you right here. And it is important to know how to actually sell everything, because it makes a pretty big difference. So right here you can see this is want to buy bulk tab. Now I do think that some of the tabs, I think people don't really buy at all in terms of essences. All tab include hide Scarab. So want to buy Scarab tabs 100%, no rusted. So there's people buying Scarab tabs pretty much for the whole price, no rusted polish at 100%. And if they do have rusted, you pay 90%. They pay 90%. So I think skittering Delirium Orbs is a very good way to guarantee the profit margin and still allow you to do juice maps like it's before. Now in terms of what you want to put for your master mission, I would probably put Alba for the most monsters. You also technically put Einhar and try to get more rares on your map. Now, overall, I hope this shows you that Super Juice mapping is still able to be profitable as long as you can take advantage of skittering Deli Orbs with the Deli Reward Sextant. Do know that dying is very bad on this strategy, as you need up to 4 to 5 portals worth of inventories to carry out all the Scarabs. And you'll probably use all of the portals if you want to do 100% Deli. Now, the playstyle is not really enviable. You do have to do a lot of looting after the map. But the profit will scale much higher. You have a character strong enough for 100% Deli without sacrificing clear speed. So as you can see here, if the profit is like 2, maybe 2.5 to 3 divines per map on 100% Deli, and you do like 4 to 5 or 6 maps per hour, you can potentially make 8 to 10 divines per hour. I'm not saying that you can. I'm not really sure exactly how long the map takes to do. But even if you ran 4 maps at 2 divines per profit per map, you should be making a lot of money. And this is pretty much because of the selling aspect is super easy. And the next thing is, if you actually ran this with Magic Find, the profits could potentially be much higher. Because if you find multiple God Touch rares per map, then you have Magic Find, then it's very possible if you're running high quant with Fortune Favors of Brave and the Conqueror map node that you could potentially be getting a huge God Touch, maybe drop you 10 divines. So who knows? I might test this out myself on stream if you want to see it with Magic Find gear to see if it actually affects what happens when you run into these God Touch rares. But thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you find more mirrors, exalted orbs, and divines than me, and see you next time. Bye!